Guys, I've been a bit of a hypocrite.
What have you done?
Can't believe I'm saying this, but after taking the piss out of it for years and ridiculing it, I've caved, and for my Twitch stuff, I've set up a TikTok account.
Oh, what? Fucking hell, Chris. What? Okay, what actually convinced you to start TikTok? Like, why? Considering how against it you've been.
Well, here's the thing. I was talking with several people on my streamer Discord as a group, and a lot of them say they've had a lot of growth and shares from just TikTok alone.
Interesting.
And they were saying, look, you don't have to look at stuff on there. I mean, you kind of do because the app just like forces stuff off you, but you can just like go to like your profile sort of page, as it were, like you would do on Facebook. It's like go to your
Hmm.
front page. So I keep that to a minimal because my thoughts on the actual TikTok content haven't changed. I think it's fucking garbage. I'm not saying all of it's garbage. I've managed to find some good stuff. It's like by saying, oh yeah, don't like this, get rid of this, block this, etc. And I've managed to find like some like old comedy sketches, like some obscure stuff, just like randomly pop up and like that. And randomly enough, I found a old Lord of the Rings promo thing with Andy Serkis doing Gollum when it was at the MTV Awards, and it's just full of swearing.
Hmm.
Which was pretty funny. But anyway, so yeah, with TikTok, it occurred to me as like if I don't have to watch stuff on there, I could just take clips of the channel or little highlights and just edit them a bit and upload them. Because it turns out, to my surprise, that the TikTok video editor is surprisingly good. Even
Really?
if you don't want to watch content on there, it's probably worth downloading just to use as a free video editor.
Okay,
It's
I
got quite
did
a lot
not
of
think
features in
about
it.
that.
No, I didn't really think about that because I expected it to be like crap and garbage. And yeah, there's a load of stuff on there that you don't want, or like the high pitched voices, and that really gets on me. There seems to be a massive obsession with people just like lip syncing to the really pitch shifted stuff, and I don't know why it's garbage. It's like you go through TikTok and think, oh, there's only like three songs in the entire world because everyone's just doing the same fucking thing over and over again. Yeah. But there's a surprisingly large collection of even like sounds to like put in the background. Like so, I today did a couple of like victory achieved posts, like, and I managed to put like some Sonic Mania music in the background. So
Or copyright free and everything.
yeah, it's on there, so it's free to use. So
Oh
some like
shit!
music by
Oh.
T Lopes and that. So far, I've had quite a lot of views on there. So surprisingly, for someone who said he fucking hates TikTok, I seem to be doing okay on there.
Right, this could
And
sound
I've
really
I,
like half boomer of me, but I've literally just right now just downloaded the TikTok app on my phone. Do you? Is there like a web version for you to do? What? What are you laughing at?
He's like, oh my gosh, Chris! Oh, now I've downloaded it in the space of 2 minutes.
No, because I'm just super curious because you said like you did the video editor stuff. Is there like a web version or is it just the app?
there
Like,
is
how does it
there is
work?
a browser version as well. Although the browser version seems to have different features, or maybe I've just not quite worked it out yet because I've only been doing it for like a few days at the time of recording. So, but I find it's better on mobile. There just seems
Hmm.
to be more features, unless I'm just completely missing like an entire dashboard. But
I'm
yeah, it's okay.
I kind of wouldn't be surprised that if there's more on mobile than on desktop, it that kind of weirdly makes more sense because it's a bit like YouTube Shorts comes from the idea of TikToks, doesn't it? Really, because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
all shorts, and like I spent like I think I spent like 20 minutes the other day watching YouTube Shorts. I'm like, what am I doing? It's kind of the same thing of you just being on your phone and watching TikToks for who knows how long. Because I know people who do that. Not
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
have TikTok either. I remember I went to a Comic Con and the creator of TikTok was there, and one of my mates. Well, I say we all know him. He was just like, "Oh fuck this shit with TikTok. Oh, I can't believe." I get like, be like, "Oh, I know you want to go see her." The creator of TikTok was like, "No, no, I don't." It was I was just winding him up. It was funny. It was just fun to do that all weekend. But I don't know. I've thought about downloading it, but I still haven't. And I'm like, I don't know. But as you say, there's like there are even like there's stuff on there that is just pointless. It's like, why do people watch these things? It's ridiculous. But then there's also like certain stuff that are really good, but it's wading through the shit to find the good shit.
Yeah, it takes a little while. It's like setting up like a fresh YouTube account and seeing all the stuff that's trending on there,
Yeah.
which frankly gives me nightmares if I ever click on the trending tab by accident. It's like, oh no. Once the algorithm sort of knows what you've been looking at, and you follow a few more people on there, it kind of gets a better idea of what content you want. So I'm chipping away at it. I just thought, like, when I first got it though, it's like it asks you what your interests were, and I was like, well, my interests are like gaming, and up until like the last day or so, it's not actually showing me any gaming stuff whatsoever. It's just all the same trending stuff. It's like, what the fuck has this got to do with anything? I said I don't like this kind of stuff. I deliberately said I do not want this. I've pressed that block and dislike, and it's like I don't want this so many times, and it still shows you like the same thing but somebody else doing it. It's like, no. Anyway, old man yells at phone. Yes, I don't know if we've got any plans to do a Victory Achieved TikTok soon. I don't know if you lads want to look into that. But for the time being, I've just been putting stuff like Victory Achieved related on my stuff. So mine's just a collection of clips from the channel and Victory Achieved like little posts. Yeah, you know where I am. You know my going.
I think I might give it a go because there's quite a few YouTube. Well, I say quite a few. There's one YouTuber who I watch, Charlotte Dobro, and she'll just go through like TikTok and just look at like ridiculous TikTok things or themes like, you know, this person should really go to hell or caught in the act, or these people have lost a few IQ points. But it's just really funny. I don't know what it is, but I've reached a stage like if I'm eating dinner, I'll watch someone reacting to clips of TikTok rather than me myself watching their TikTok things themselves, just because the reaction of said people are more funny than the actual TikTok themselves.
Yeah, again, though, that's a thing that's not just confined to TikTok. That's been a thing on YouTube for donkey's years. So, well, that means I've got to find something else to dislike now.
Don't worry, I'm pretty certain we'll find some stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Mm-hmm. What's next in their line? What are the kids into now? What I can hate?
Still TikTok.
Oh yeah, fuck TikTok.
Welcome to Victory Achieved Podcast, a video game podcast. A video game podcast, apparently. Let's start that again. Fucking hell.
Take two.
Take two. Welcome to Victory Achieved Podcast, a video game podcast, a film podcast, a music podcast, a generalized podcast. My name is Brandon, and I'm here with the boys, Dan and Chris.
Yo, hi.
Yo, hi.
Yo, hi.
Yo, ha!
So we have got an overrunning theme for today, but, you know, we like to touch base. We like to see what everyone's been up to so far. So I thought I'll just give us a start by saying we went through the last episode talking about, you know, video game bugs, glitches in the Matrix and stuff. And I can't remember if I touched base or saying that I'm trying to get the platinum for Skyrim. And I've got the platinum for Skyrim, but there's also all the other trophies, you know, associated with the DLCs and stuff. And I've got the platinum, but there's already one trophy which I'm locked out of purely because of how buggy the fucking game is.
Which one's
and
that?
It's the quest Lost to the Ages, where you've got to go to the Forge Emma things to get the Ethereum Forge open. So bug number one is Catcher's Journal didn't spawn, so I don't even know where the hell I'm going. Glitch number two is Catcher herself has despawned and just disappeared, so I've got no idea where she's gone. And glitch number three is I can't put my Ethereum artifacts into the Forge to open up the Forge, so I can't even actually get into the Forge. So that's really pissed me off. So literally as soon as I've got like all the trophies for Soul Stam and everything, I've got to make a new account, just speed run getting to this one fucking quest, and they're doing it. And that's basically literally I've probably spent over 100 hours trying to just get all the trophies for Skyrim. I've absolutely loved the hell out of it, and it's all because of that trip to Wales. But my god, is it turning into a chore right now.
Yeah, I in terms of like, I actually thought of another bugging glitch from Skyrim. You know the quest where it's the Red Guard woman.
In Whiterun.
Yeah, every time I've done that and like saved her, it always glitches where her pursuers are just in the center, just like, hi. It's like, why aren't you gone? Why are you still here?
Honestly, like so much stupid shit's been happening on Skyrim. Like this morning, I played a little bit before, like while getting ready for work, and I went to a dragon buyer, killed one of the ancient dragons, and as the dragon was dying, you know, it turned to bones. I absorbed its soul, and then a Draugr Deathlord came up and started to swing at me. So I then swung my Daedric Greatsword, and all of a sudden this dragon's body just went flying out of frame, like, and I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, I didn't even claim the stuff from the body. It was just so stupid. And then I got stuck in a waterfall. Like, so much just stupid shit has been happening. Like, unbelievable amount of stupid shit. And I'm just like, I was speaking to Lacey about it, and she was just like, has the game not released patches to block the bugs? And I was like, no. I don't think Skyrim has ever had a bug patch, has it?
Probably, but it's not helped it.
If it has, it's only added more to replace the ones it got rid of.
I know, because they released like all the DLC, but like just more stuff just gradually breaks. Like a whole stuff, like just the default quest from the base game lost ages. Then they gave the trophy as part of the Make Your House DLC, and then it just breaks. Yeah, so that's what's mainly I've been up to, is trying to get all the trophies for Skyrim. What have you guys been up to?
Been trying to platinum Elden Ring, and start watching all of Star Wars. About it.
I've been moaning.
What have you been moaning about now?
Everything.
Standard.
If it exists, I'm going to moan about it, all right?
Exactly.
Fair enough.
It's Chris.
It is. Well, I suppose then, before we get into our main topic, we've got a couple of things that are like here, now, and happening, as the kids probably don't say.
It's Chris's birthday in 2 days. As of the time of recording, it'll be past it when this is out.
I ain't 40 yet. I'm getting there.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, 38. Fucking hell.
Do you feel 38?
I feel about 88.
That's not bad going. It could be 90. I'd like to just try to help you a little bit.
You know what? If I hadn't already got Alzheimer's from age, I would have probably understood that more. I can't count anymore, so it's fine. What was I talking about?
Video games.
You're saying you was moaning a lot.
Oh yes, I was. What was I talking about again? All right, we'll stop that. All right, yes, video games. Right, let's do this properly. Come on, it's not like I'm doing a podcast recording or anything.
Exactly.
So latest games I've been playing. I've been playing a couple. One of which isn't on Game Pass. Can you believe?
Hey, the sponsorship has been tied.
Yeah.
It's been 14 days.
I was just thinking of that Titanic meme, but replace it was like, it's been 14 days. Anyway, so I've been mostly this week playing a game called Chained Echoes, which I'll admit I didn't know anything about. And Chained Echoes, at first glance, looks like it might be one of those sort of mobile sort of RPG, sort of top-down kind of thing. But I give it the benefit of doubt, and I'm very, very glad I did, because it turns out it's really fucking good.
Looking at some screenshots of it now. The art looks nice. The actual enemy design looks nice.
Yeah, so Chained Echoes is a self-proclaimed sort of throwback to the SNES RPG era. So think your Chrono Triggers, think your Final Fantasy V's, that kind of stuff. It's got turn-based combat, but goddamn, there's a heck of a lot of different things to keep you engaged. Starting off, I'll start with the battle system. Say turn-based. Every character's got a load of select moves they can use, but there's a couple of things that make it more interesting. First of being, there's essentially a bar in the top right, so top left of the screen, and every time you use a combat action, there's a sort of needle that moves like left and right, and there's a sort of like so far in the game there's like 3 sections. There's like a sort of neutral, and then there's like a sweet spot where it's green, and if you're in that sweet spot you like take less damage and do more damage, but if the needle carries going on further into like the red, you start taking double damage. So essentially what it is it ranges you in from like using all the most powerful attacks like all the time. It's like, if you keep doing that, you're just going to like go into what it calls overheat, and if you go into that you're going to have a bad time. So you may want to take a turn to like do a buff or do a sort of heal instead of just wading it. So it keeps things a bit more balanced, and the game as such doesn't have like a sort of traditional level up system at all. There's more emphasis on like equipment you have, and your equipment can be upgraded, but obviously you find new equipment just in chests as you would expect to from like an old school RPG. But there's also like it's got like a crystal system, but it's kind of like the materia system from Final Fantasy VII, where each equipment's got like slots, and you can basically put stuff in there to boost you like your passive stats, or give something like an edge, or like it might cause a debuff when you hit, or something like if you defend you'll regain so much health back, that kind of stuff. You have 4 members in your party at any one time, and you have essentially like 4 in reserve at the point I've got up to in the story, and at any point during your turn you can essentially swap out one character for another, a bit like Final Fantasy X. You swap people out on the same turn and they can act the same turn, although there's a slight catch to it. Essentially, instead of being able to swap out for any other character who's benched, you essentially like pair them up, so it's more like a tag team partner for each 4. So you decide which character can swap in for which other character. So again, it's another layer of tactics. You decide which team members are best swapping out for each one. So say like you've got 2 magic users, do you want to swap out one magic user for another magic user should one get into trouble, or do you want 2 magic users on active attacking? And as for other content, there's like a huge sort of essentially like job list sort of side quest board, but there's sort of like little micro things. It's stuff like kill X amount of enemies, or kill like a super enemy, or find so many chests on the overworld. These are things you can do like pretty much at any time, just wandering around exploring. And for each one you do, you essentially like tick it off. You get a couple of bonus items and rewards. But how it's done, it's kind of dialed like a sort of, I think the best way to describe it is kind of like a sort of crossword puzzle. So instead of a list, all the tasks are sort of on tiles and they sort of interconnect. The way it's done like that is you get more bonus points if you do what the game calls a chain. So if you've got several tasks that are like right next to each other and tiled up, if you get like one and then you do the task that's to the left or right of it, you'll get like a chain of 2, and so on and so forth. If you do like one next to the next left, you get a chain of 3. And the bigger the chain you manage to get, the more real high-end items you get. Some of these items you can get include what the game calls grimoire shards, and the way you learn new skills in-game is not via level up, but via killing bosses. And every time you kill a boss, you get one of these shards, and essentially each character's got like a list of skills they can learn, but you need one shard to learn like any skill. So essentially you pick and choose what skills you want, but it can't be reversed. So you got to think about the long game. It's like, well, I could get a move that like hits every enemy, but at this point in time, would I be better off just getting a passive like plus 10% extra health? So there's a lot of layers of depth to this game, and it helps that it sounds great, it looks great, and damn, there's a lot to it, and I'm digging the hell out of it. It looks pretty, well, I'd say it looks pretty simplistic, but under the hood, there's a lot going on, and I do highly recommend it.
Like some of the combat with like the overheating and like saying like you can't use like your big attacks all the time. It's obviously not completely the same, but it does remind me a bit of Octopath Traveler in a weird way. Not obviously Octopath and this are completely different, but there's some similarities in the way. Even in Octopath, it's like, well, yeah, you could buff your characters so you can do all these big attacks, but then if you haven't staggered or broken the guard on your enemies, it's kind of being wasted. It sounds a little similar, not completely, but a little
bit. Some of these skills that you get like early on for some of your characters are stuff like, hit them and you'll like give them like a defense down as well. Like everything seems to like do damage, but I've noticed it's quite generous with that kind of thing. Normally, if you like do a defense down, it's only for like a couple of turns, but it normally does it for like 5 or 6 turns. So it always seems worth doing. It's like, yeah, it's like I'll do less damage now, but for like 5 extra turns, that's well worth doing. And funny you should say, like it reminds you a bit of Octopath Traveler, because the game does start quite similar to it, as in all your party members are like separate first and then they sort of meet up. And I think it's done because every character is like unique and there's a lot of skills that they can learn. So it's like the game gives you a bit of time of each one like individually, so you know like what they do. It's like, what's their strengths and weaknesses.
Very much like Octopath Traveler then.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, well, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming out next month. I'm still on the fence whether to get it or not. Well, I think I will, but I don't know. I think there's things I want in. It depends how. I've not even completed Octopath Traveler 1, but it's some of the things in that I'm like, if they're fixed, or if it's a bit different in 2, maybe. But if not, I'm still quite content with 1 for now until I've beaten it. We'll see. But this RPG, I might have a look at. I know you did mention it in the chat when you first played it, and I literally forgot to have a look. I was like, I literally had it in the back of my mind. I'm like, I need to have a look at that, and I literally forgot. But I have now, and it definitely does seem interesting.
Yeah, I do highly recommend it. I say, if you like stuff like Chrono Trigger and that, you'll like this.
Of course I do. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met someone that doesn't like Chrono Trigger.
Oh, I fucking love Chrono Trigger. That's one of my favourite games. It's like,
oddly enough, that's one I've not played all that much. I have finished it, but I haven't like played it to death or anything.
It's the fact that it's like such an old game, and it's like, how many endings are there? Fucking loads. It's like, wait, what?
I think canonically, if you like get all the different combinations, and that, I think there's about 22 different endings.
It's ridiculous for a Super Nintendo game, but it's amazing. Chained Echoes is on the Switch, so I will.
Yeah, I think it's on every con.
Yeah, it is.
Everything.
I'm actually gonna quickly have a look and see how much it is on the Switch. But,
I may be wrong, but I think it's the same developers, and this is a bit of a weird connection. But I think it's the same developers who did Lords of the Fallen, like the first sort of Dark Souls sort of spin-off.
Interesting.
No, that
It's a logo with a little ship on it.
it just says it's just developed by one guy.
Isn't it?
Yeah, from reading on here on Chain Echoes, Matthias Linda. He's done it.
Fair enough.
Unless I'm reading that wrong.
Unless it's been published by someone.
Probably. I was an RPG Maker game. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, never would have known.
Well, the more you know. I did actually see the big film that came out in December, Avatar 2. Yes, I did go see that film.
What do you have to say on that?
I say that as if I didn't like it. I actually did enjoy it, to be fair. But it was basically just the first film again, but with water. To put it simply, it was essentially that.
That's pretty much what I've heard across the board. Is like, yeah, it's Avatar.
It's like it made me go. It made me. Because I did re-watch the first one, and I actually really enjoyed re-watching the first one. I was like, I remember I really liked this film when I saw it, and I was like, yeah, I do. And then I saw the second one, I was like, it is literally first film again, but water. Like they move to the water area of the planet, and they have to learn the way of water, pretty much.
So they're going to the Zora Temple then.
Pretty much. No, I enjoyed it. There was one scene, and it was in like the big battle at the end. It was very different than the first film. Well, obviously it's on water, but it's in some ways it's a lot more scaled down anyway. And there's one scene in particular where this guy, he's one of the humans, he's about to die, and he dies by his arm being cut off, and then he gets flung into the air and dies. But it's the fact that when his arm comes off, you literally see it fling in the air in the next shot. And I was with my mates, and we were absolutely howling in the cinema over this shot. It was fucking hilarious. I probably will see the next one just because. But no, I enjoyed it, but it's not really that. It's nothing special. I'll say that, but I enjoyed it.
So Avatar then. So what I've heard is like the secret to like making an Avatar film is just having a really, really simplistic story, but just make it look really nice. Just throw a lot of money at it. It's a simple thing. If you're going to appeal to as many people as possible, you need to not necessarily dumb it down, but just make it simple so everyone from like smaller people or children, I suppose you'd call them, will understand it. They know what's going on.
I don't know. It's like I enjoy both films, but there's this. They all feel just so. This is this film. This is this film. It's a franchise, but each film feels so self-contained. But at the same time, it's clear that James Cameron's making this a big franchise. But it's like there's no like you get. I got to the end of the second film, and I was like, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen next. I wonder how. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Whereas I think at the end of the first film, I was so interested to see where it was all gonna go next, and I guess like the first like section of Avatar 2 before they moved to the water was actually really interesting. To be fair, it was like, oh, this is what's happened in between the first two films. And it was quite interesting, but then it just became a bit more like this is this story. Okay.
I think I know what the secret is. I think I've stumbled across it accidentally.
What's that?
So the first one is essentially Dances with Wolves, which had Kevin Costner in it, and the second one is essentially Waterworld, which had Kevin Costner in it. So I'm looking at The Postman is going to be the third one, which is the post-apocalyptic one.
Oh, he said that there's going to be the Fire Navy in the third one.
Hold on, is he doing Avatar as well? Is he trying to make Avatar?
I don't know.
It's a Fire Nation going to attack next.
Yeah, there's already.
Bloody hell, that's it.
Fire Nation.
Aang is played by Kevin Costner.
Oh no! Don't ruin my beautiful boy Aang. No.
Played by the most dull person on the planet.
What, Ian Beale?
I was going to say Kevin Costner.
I knew you were going to say Kevin.
To be honest, would it be any worse than the M. Night Shyamalan?
No, I was thinking of Neil Breen. That's who I was thinking, not Ian Beale. Neil Breen. What is it?
Neil Bream? Bream's a fish. The fish is in Avatar too.
The filmmaker is Neil Breen, or it's something like that. Yeah, Neil Breen.
Where'd you laugh there,
Brandon? Yeah, Neil Breen. Yeah, I did say it right. Neil Breen.
You did. I was taking the piss.
Oh, you
A comedic
motherfucker.
effect. That's what I do. I moan and I make shit jokes. Oh dear. Well, speaking of Strange Worlds, I guess I watched Strange Worlds as well on the old Disney Plus. Have you seen Strange Worlds, chaps?
I want to, but I've
never heard of it.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's not surprising you haven't heard of it, Brandon, because I don't think most people have heard of it because there was fuck all marketing for this.
Oh, really?
I saw some, but then
yeah, there's a little bit, but compared to like other Disney properties, there was basically nothing.
there was like nothing.
It just sort of came out, and I think I know why.
I think I know why.
Well, before we speculate on that, just a quick plot summary if you haven't seen it. So, Strange World stars Jake Gyllenhaal as a character called Searcher, who is the son of a very famous explorer on their planet. The whole place isn't set on Earth. It's like set in some like fictional country. Who's they're in a place where it's just basically it's inescapable. There's like mountains that surround everywhere. So this like entire society has just like lived its entire life in like one place. But you got Searcher, who's like the son of this explorer who doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps. His dad essentially gets annoyed when they're on an expedition and wanders off, as you do. And then it cuts to like 20 years later when Searcher's older, more grown up, and he essentially finds a plant many years before when he was on the same expedition as his father, which is basically powering their society. It's basically like this sort of wonder plant that acts essentially as batteries for like everything. And then there's a little bit of a turmoil because all of a sudden this power source is starting to fail and they want to know why. And he's then approached by someone who he used to go on expeditions with to find the cause for it because they think they know, and they make a little expedition to a strange world. And to say much more about the story would be spoilers, so I'll start there. But it does involve him taking his family with him and a three-legged dog who is the best pupper in the film, of course. But yeah, so essentially you can probably tell just by going on my little plot summary that this film does have a big environmental message all over it. It's not subtle at all. I think it tries to be, but it doesn't quite pull it off. And I think a reason why this film got very little marketing, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing against the film at all, I think it's great, but one of the main characters, Searcher's son, is, well, at least he's portrayed in the film as being gay, and that's absolutely fine. You don't see a lot of that in kids' films, but I do think that's why they've not had as much marketing for it, because the Chinese aren't going to like that, and, you know, Disney want the Chinese money, so I think just for that sole reason alone, and I'm probably sure there's more behind it, but it just didn't get all the marketing it deserved. When it comes to the actual film itself, I thought it was fine. I thought there were some good bits. It gets creative with the whole strange world aspects of it. There's some like very creative designs. But as far as plot goes, it's pretty paper thin. Everything feels like I've seen this before. Nothing's like really stand out. It's like, oh, this is taken from this film. This is taken from this film. This is like Journey to the Center of the Earth type material. But all the actors were fine. Nothing was like really stand out. It was just like middle of the road. It's like one of these films in like 6 months' time, I'll probably forget I even watched it. But for what it was okay. There's nothing offensive in it. Sit down. There's no worse ways to spend like an hour and a half with your kids. Well, with that and Avatar 2, it's very much environmentally friendly films.
Yeah. Like I said, all the other films I've just watched are just anime ones, and there's not really much to say. But no, I wasn't there also like some with Strange Worlds, like the LGBTQ stuff as well.
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah, there's enough of that in it to make it difficult to, I suppose, edit down for, shall we say, a select audience. But it is a driving force throughout some of the film for a couple of the characters. So I think if they did like sort of edit or cut around that, it would lead to some plot holes for sure. I don't know. A shame some places just need to get with the times. Says me, an old man who's moaning about TikTok.
Well, you have also played another character in some Strange Worlds, a purple dragon.
I have, yes.
You're wondering what I was going into then, weren't you?
I thought you were going into another game I've played, but bloody hell, I played a lot. So yeah, for New Year's, I wanted to surprise my Twitch chat with something that I said I'd never played, and everyone, including you guys, were like, "How the hell have you not played that yet?" Yeah, so I bought the Spyro Reignited trilogy for like 12 quid. It was on sale for like, and when I looked, it's like it only had like 2 days remaining. So I was like, if I don't buy this now, I believe I won't. So downloaded it, played it on New Year's. So I haven't finished it, and I'm gonna pick it up again later. But for 4.5 hours, I've played Spyro the Dragon finally.
First one.
All these years, just the first one for the time being.
How you been getting on with it?
Yeah, absolutely fine. I thought there might be a little bit of jank to it, but because it's like the remastered one, I didn't really have any issues at all. I thought it was perfectly fine for all it is. I think there is one little holdover though, and I think it's to do with the collision detection. It wasn't like a major issue or anything, but I did feel with some platforms, like sometimes when I didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, oh, I feel like I should have made that platform and I fell off.
Is this in the first one?
Just in the first one, yeah. I don't know if it was like that in the original, but
yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought this might be a hold off because they did this and the Crash trilogy at the same time. The first Crash game, the remake of that, has the rounded hitchbox issue, which makes the platform in the first one so much harder because that's what it's like in like the second and the third one. But the hitbox in the first one is like more square, so it sometimes when you make the platforms, you sort of land and then sort of slide off. And I think that's the same issue I was having in Spyro. It was like I've landed on the edge of that. Yeah, I seem to have fallen off. No way.
In the first,
but I think
one,
I think it's exactly the same problem because it's the same developers. It's Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
I think it's exactly the same coding.
In the first Spyro game, on both the original and the remastered, it's like you need to make sure you have the perfect jump to make sure you get on that ledge, because otherwise you're just going to fall. Whereas from the second and third, from the second game onwards, the series brings in a new mechanic to rectify that and helps you basically get onto ledges better, which would have been lovely in the first game. But that's just evolution.
Yeah, he needs like a ledge grab or something.
Yeah, it's not as a hover ability that you get from the second game onwards.
Yeah, that helps a bunch.
Yeah,
that just makes sense being a dragon. Because here's my thing: he's like, hang on, he sort of flies between levels and he's got actual flying levels. Why can't he sodding fly in the platforming levels?
I think power of magic.
I think the thing is, the way they say it is probably that he's too young in the first game. But who knows? But
you have dedicated flying levels.
Which you have to go through magic portals to use, though.
You go through magic portals to get to everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Flying levels.
Little plot hole, but okay, I'll let it slide. It is what it is. So, but yeah, it's perfectly fine. So I was thinking, like, of all the PS1 games, I've played Sodding Pepsi Man, but I haven't played Spyro. What's going on?
Oh, you have now. Finally, I'm going to change.
When you get further in, I've got a really important question to ask you, but I'm not going to ask you it until you finish all three.
Well, I'm scheduled to stream it next week, so I'm going to carry on with it. I can't stream it once and then say, yeah, that'll do. It's like, no, I'll pay for this damn thing. I'm going to play it.
Brandon, message me the question. I want to know. I'm too curious.
Okay, I'll message you up Snapchat.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but Tom Kenny voices Spyro.
Oh, I see.
Yes, good old Tom Kenny.
He's getting into more Spyro compilations.
Yeah, well, he voiced Spyro in the second and third game. He didn't voice him in the first game, but in the Reignited trilogy, he does all the first game voice lines as well.
I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Stuart Copeland does all the soundtrack originally from the Police.
Yep, he's the drummer, isn't he?
Yes, absolutely fantastic soundtrack from all three games.
It's not quite up there with Mick Gordon myself.
It's very
different.
It'd be
kind of a bit of a different thing if they start playing Doom.
It's very different than Mick Gordon.
Now imagine flying, like trying to hunt butterflies and stuff, and all here is.
I wouldn't be complaining, but it's not the right vibe.
No, right
it would go up in my opinion. I mean, he's a dragon for God's sake. He should be like doing hellfire. Anyway, but yeah, Spyro, it's fine. I'm liking it. I do have one more film I do want to quickly discuss, but you've not really mentioned much today, Brandon. So it's your turn.
Because I've not done anything.
Well, that was a quick one, Brandon. Thanks.
Skyrim. I've done nothing else.
What's your build on Skyrim? There's a question.
I've been using the two-handed greatsword because I just want to unga bunga my way through it, and it is working like a treat. And that's all I can say about it.
What
Apart
race
from
are
I'm
you?
also stinking rich.
What race are you?
Because that's it. Well, I just chose Nord just because I like the sound effects of when he goes for throw dark compared to like some of the others. But but one of the main reasons one of my main gripes with Skyrim is obviously you've got the gold mechanic.
Yeah.
But you've got nothing to spend it on.
Yeah.
Like there's literally nothing you spend your gold on. You get so much gold.
It's literally
once you get beyond mid game, you're just basically having to fast travel everywhere just to buy stuff because everyone only sells 2 potions. Yes, well I need like a fucking million.
It's the same gripe I have with Borderlands 2 is you just get so much cash and you just never buy anything because you don't need to, and it's like, well, I only have all this cash for when I die to pay for my resurrection. But then
there's literally just nothing to spend in Skyrim. But like early game, it's important early game. But as you get to mid game, cash just becomes nothing. But like one of the trophies is to get 100,000 gold. I'm just like, now that I've got 100,000 gold, like I'm still going around and I'm still picking up like coin purses worth 3 gold.
Yep.
I don't need them, but I'm still doing it.
Yep. We all do it.
And I can't stop. Even if I see like 1 gold on the table, I pick it up. I don't fucking need it, but I do it.
Yep, we all do it. For me, it's like I always get into the habit of being a sneaky archer. It's just like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be a mage. Oh, no, I'm a sneaky archer. How did that happen? And I always find I pick up every arrow, and I'm like, I don't need these arrows. I pick up every arrow.
I'm not even using bows, but I just do it.
It's like, these arrows are terrible. I don't want to use the undead arrows. And I'm like, oh, I'll use my... But then I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to use my Daedra arrows or my dragon arrows.
I work my way from the bottom up. I use the least damaging arrows.
Yep.
I've got 6,400 iron arrows. I don't need them, but I've got them.
Yeah. There you go.
Literally, Skyrim tells you a lot about your psychology.
I think many games do.
Right. We've been ranting for a long time. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we go on to our dirty, naughty topic?
Chris has got some stuff.
You got more stuff, Chris? What the hell?
God, I've got tons. I've got tons. I've got loads of stuff. I don't know. Well, I was going to talk about Banshees of Inisherin, but fine. I could talk about High on Life because I finished that, and my opinion hasn't changed. I thought it was fine, and I finished it, and I thought it was fine. There we go. That was quick.
Oh, I watched Knives Out and Glass Onion. They were good. Knives Out is better, but they were both good. Well, you spoke about them both last time, so there's not. I
did. My opinions haven't changed. They were still very good. In fact, I even rewatched Knives Out like a couple of days ago just because it came up unsuggested. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just let it run.
I did see. Funny enough, I actually did see an article saying the start of Glass Onion and the end of Glass Onion are exactly the same. I was like, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Without spoiling anything, I was like, yeah, what?
Yeah, they both got Daniel Craig.
Well, yeah, there's that, but it's what one character does at the start of the film. They do it at the end of the film, and it's like, and it like, I think it was like, oh, this spoils the end of the film. It's like, oh yeah, it kind of does, but you wouldn't know unless you've watched the whole film. So
Actually, there's 2 little things about Glass Onion that I have seen since the last episode. Not about the film itself. There's a couple of like little tidbits. The first one being like the Glass Onion is a reference to a Beatles song.
Yes.
And the Beatles song itself was a sort of response to people like looking for meaning in songs that just aren't there, which plays into the whole mystery angle of it all. And the second one was Edward Norton like holding up I don't want to give it spoilers, holding up a prop from the film, and it was like the recreation of like the like multi-millionaire he sort of ripped it from, and he said he took fucking hours to get the expression right. It was interesting watching them side by side because he said like, oh, lots of people like comparing like me to like my character to like Elon Musk. He's like, close but not quite. Here's the actual reference. It's interesting to see.
But both good. Knives Out's better, but both good. I think with Knives Out, I got halfway through and I was like, but this is this. But and I knew there was something to come where it was like, no, this is what it is. But it was like, what? I was like, oh, what is it? What? And then obviously once you're at the end, you find out. But it's like,
yeah, I think both are pretty good. I'd say the second one feels like it's on a, how can I put it? Feels like the second one's on a grander scale, but the first one's got a better mystery.
Yes.
So the last thing I want to talk about before we get into our main topic. So I watched a film, as I've mentioned previously, called Banshees of Inisherin. This is a film that popped up on Disney Plus, so you can watch it before you watch Strange Worlds if you want. So I knew very little of this film going in, but I did see that someone I watch on YouTube did a video about it, which I hadn't watched prior to it, but it said it was essentially in the title that it was pretty good. So I thought, all right, I'll give it a go then. If he thinks it's all right, and I normally agree with his opinion, I'll give it a watch myself. And yeah, it's a very depressing film, and but not in a bad way. It's very macabre. So it stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and they've worked together before on some of the same films, most notably in Bruges, and I believe it's the same director as well. I think they've done a couple of others, which I did read going into this episode, but my brain has decided it doesn't want to give me the answers now. Okay. But yeah, so this takes place on the Irish island called Inisherin, and it's set in the 1920s when there's a bit of a kerfuffle going on globally, shall we say, as you may know if you know your Irish history. And essentially, the whole island itself like plays a sort of character, because the whole thing's like a very close-knit community. There's only a smallish cast. Everything feels like sort of isolated, and there's not a lot going on. It kind of reminded me of a more depressing Father Ted. Essentially, what the plot boils down to is Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell's characters are like two friends that go back a long way, and then suddenly one day Brendan Gleeson's character suddenly decides he just doesn't like Colin Farrell's anymore and just like refuses to talk to him. And at first it seems like quite petty. It's like because Colin Farrell's just like confused. It's like, why don't you want to be my mate? What's going on? Because it just like comes out of nowhere, and it like surprises everyone else, like the local landlord. It's like, yeah, you should just make up. I don't know what the problem is. As the film goes on, you do get a sort of explanation as to what's going on, but it just gets worse and worse and worse, because Brendan Gleeson's character just essentially just wants to be left alone, but Colin Farrell won't let it lie. He's just like, no, why won't you be my mate? What's going on? And he gives him a couple of ultimatums, some of which get pretty graphic as the film goes on. And essentially, the whole thing is kind of a metaphor for like sometimes you should just let things go, just leave it, just walk away. I think that's the main message that the film tries to get across, but it's done in a very unique way. It's like an hour and 40 minutes long, give or take, and I won't lie, it is like a sort of slow burn film. There's no like grand set piece or anything like that. It is more down to earth sort of drama, but everyone's performances are very good. Nothing's like overacted. It's everyone's pretty much on the level, I'd say. Like no one's like over the top or anything like that. So if you like dramas that are a bit dark, it's kind of been marketed as a sort of dark comedy. I use the word comedy very, very lightly.
I was like, where do you fit the comedy into this?
There were certain bits. It depends how you look at it, because I mean, stuff like League of Gentlemen, some of that's pretty dark, but that's like got its comedic bits. Well, it isn't. That's a bad example. It is mostly a comedy, but I don't know, some of it's got a little bit of a tone to that, I guess. I did think that when I was watching it. But like Father Ted and League of Gentlemen, but very, very depressing. But in a good way. Let's say all the performances are pretty good. I suppose the main drive for it is like, I just wanted to see what's going to happen next. It's like, where's this film going? It's like, I'm not sure whether it's going to peter out, whether it's going to explode or what. I just want to know what's going on. It's like, why doesn't he want to talk to him anymore? You feel quite invested in all the characters as it goes on. But yeah, I do highly recommend Banshees of Inisherin. I really did enjoy it. Just don't expect to come out of it with all singing and dancing.
Yeah, it's like a film I watched. I only just remembered is Three Identical Strangers. I watched that the day after, I think New Year's Day, and I was like, fuck me. This is not the most happiest film to watch on New Year's Day. Like, the first half was like, oh, really nice, and then you get into the second half, you're like, oh, fucking hell. This is... It
suddenly dawned on me what the other film the director did. He did 3 Billboards out of Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah.
I've not seen that. And I suppose that's got a sort of similar tone to it as well.
Well, if he's done In Bruges, I mean, I'll try. I always say this, don't I? I'll try and watch it. I think I will try, but...
Yeah, so it's only like an hour and 40, so it's not like a really long film. So you can watch it in the
great.
evening.
So I remember when I went to see my mate in Belgium. He was telling me all the times he's been to Bruges, and be like, I remember going there and be like, oh, it's this scene in Bruges, oh, I'm here. I was like, it'd be great if I could go, but obviously I didn't have the time for us to go there and visit it one day.
I've been to Brussels, but I don't think I've been to Bruges.
Brussels. I went Brussels last year, and they're very nice. But we have a meat to get into, our cheat code talk.
Yes,
We
we're all
do.
good lying cheaters.
Well, you may be. I'm not. So yeah, so we thought as a companion piece to our glitches in the last episode, we thought, well, sod it. We're on about glitches. We may as well talk about cheats as well. That's pretty much under the same umbrella. Like they're kind of like glitches, except you can do them by command. So I think I'll start off with not by going with one that I personally grew up with, but I did ask this question on Twitter as well as Facebook, and we did get some responses, which is great. So thank you very much for reading what we type and responding, because now we get to talk about it on the show and you get to feel famous. Hooray! So the ones I had was starting in no particular order. So cheat codes are obviously something that you either input before you start a game. You might do it on the menu, you might do it during gameplay, and they're very rarely seen nowadays. Sadly, most of it, if you feel like you're unlocking something, give us that sweet money for a microtransaction. But yeah, back in today, and I think it was most prevalent around like the Mega Drive, SNES, and like PS1 era is when you mostly had cheat codes. But yeah, so some of the ones we had, let's start off with a bang with Lara explodes in Tomb Raider 2.
What?
Yeah, you heard that right. So I've even gone as far as to write them down, so you at home can try them out for yourself. So I want to do it like like the Games Master used to do it, like Patrick Moore used to do it. So I can't do his voice there, which is a shame. But in Tomb Raider 2, if you hold down the warp button and use the D-pad to step forward, step back, and while you're still holding the warp button, turn around 3 times in either direction and then backflip by pressing down and square, Lara will just spontaneously explode. Just for fun.
Why?
Why not? It's fun.
That's such a random one.
Yeah, but the thing is though, it's got like a unique animation for it. So like a limbs do not actually get like separated. It's like a unique death animation. It's like you don't activate it by any other actions in the game, just by doing that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I thought it was a one. Again, cheat codes don't necessarily have to give you a helping hand, and that's proof of that. In fact, in a very similar vein, so I suppose one of the most iconic cheat codes ever is the God mode from Doom, which is the letters IDDQD. There's a bit of like discussion of what the initials actually stands for, but we believe the initials for ID is like id Software, makes sense, and then the second half we think stands for I can't fucking remember. It's Delta Quadra Delta, I think, and that stands for something that means something to somebody. But this cheat code was actually in the Doom Eternal, oddly enough, but it's just a cheat for the it's just a reference to the original Doom for God mode. But the reason I bring this one up is like Lara explodes in a later game made by id, Heretic. It mocks people. It goes, oh, so you played a id game before, have you? So if you type in IDDQD, instead of giving you invincibility, it will tell you that you have a good memory and then just instantly kill you.
What the hell?
And there's a similar one as well. If you type in the code IDKFA, which again in Doom gives you like all of the weapons, in Heretic it just takes all of them away. You have nothing. But yeah, it's I know there's other examples of this. Like I suppose one of the most iconic cheat codes ever is like the Konami code.
I was about to say.
Which is up, download, left, right, BA start. And this has a wide variety of functions. Pretty much anything made by Konami has some kind of Easter egg tied to it. One that pops to mind myself is the Saw game on Xbox 360. If you type in the code, it doesn't do anything, but you do get an achievement for it. And there is like a sort of Saw reference as well for the achievement. But initially the Konami code, which is arguably like the oldest cheat code, came about just because of the game testers. They were finding the games far too hard, so they implemented a way they could like give themselves 30 lives just to keep trying it, essentially. And the code stayed in like the rest of the game, which I think was Contra, because it's also referred to as the Contra code.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you have any Konami game, just try putting in the code and see what happens. I know one of them kills you, just like the Heretic and Lara does. Yeah. So, what else did we have suggested? We had someone else said the Rhino tank from GTA 3.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
When I was a kid, I would just always do that.
Without looking, can you remember what the code is? I've got the
It's-
PlayStation one here.
It's circle circle, 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 circle. So I remember because when you're doing that animation, your character's just punching for a very long time. What is it? Is it R1, L2, circle, 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 R1, L2, L1, R2?
No.
Was I close?
You're close. So the full code is circle, 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 R1, L2, L1, triangle, circle, triangle. You were very close.
Oh, I got confused by the R2 then.
Yeah. So, essentially, if you type that code in GTA 3, you just spawn in a Rhino tank no matter where you are. Which
I was going to say, on a similar note to the Rhino tank, you could get the Hydra, the Harrier equivalent in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, cool. Could you?
And yeah, if I remember correctly, I think it's triangle, triangle, square, circle, X. Then you go down the triggers, and then it's like up, and it spawns the Hydra. Or you can do the same variant, and it gives you a water boat or like a hover boat. It's like there's just like a couple of variants you can do that. And there's also the flying cars cheat from San Andreas as well. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Square down, L2 up, L1 circle, square, X left, I think it was. You can make the flying cars. That was just endless fun. Like trying to get like max police cars, and you get like helicopters chasing after you when you're just in this flying Suzuki or whatever. Oh, but yeah, there was a good time. So you briefly mentioned some invincibility codes, Chris.
I did.
And one other invincibility code is from another Nintendo 64 game. Well, not another, but and that's Armorine. So Armorines is, I can't remember if I spoke about it before. I might have done, based off the 2-Rock engine. And again, it is a very, very hard game. And it's one of these games where you pretty much need the rumble pack to be able to save where you get to in the game. So what I did as a kid was I found out that you can get the invincibility on Armorines by, I think, you type in God mode or something. And you just basically just don't die, which means you can go through the whole game and just not die. You can get like all the weapons, infinite ammo. And it just actually, like as a kid, it did actually make the game playable, because obviously you're not like a high level gamer as a child or whatever, or even like I must have been like no older than 10 at the peak of me playing this game or something. But without the God mode, I probably would not have been able to survive any longer than like level 3 or 4. It was a very hard game, but it really did make the game a lot easier. It's sort of busted in a way.
Well, some games can be made a lot better and just more fun just by giving you like unlimited ammo.
Like trying to get like all the police force after you.
Yeah, well, again, like Doom, just like getting like the chain gun and just sellotaping down the fire button, just never ever taking it off. It's just far more fun. But yeah, let's say especially some of the harder games. Even then, when you put in like the invincibility codes, still feel like how the hell would I do this if I didn't have invincibility on? There's just no way. Well, we spoke about summoning a tank, but what if you had the need to summon in political figures? So this is most rampant in the 90s. So the example I got given is the old sports game NBA Jam, which I believe is quite popular. I remember seeing this game a lot. I think I even played it at one point, and I never played sports games, but NBA Jam did the round something fierce on the Super Nintendo back in the day. But you might be thinking, okay, yeah, I get to play as Michael Jordan, that's fine, but I want to play as Bill Clinton, or I want to play as Al Gore. These are real. So if you get yourself a copy of NBA Jam and think, yeah, I want to play as Monica Lewinsky's best friend, then you enter the initials A and R and highlight K, press the start and the L button down and press X at the name entry screen, and you get Mr. Billy. If you want to play as Al Gore, you enter the initials NE, highlight the letter T, and hold down the L and R buttons down and press A. And boom, Al Gore's on the basketball field. Probably not going to play for the Toon Squad anytime soon, but the option's there if you want it.
That is so random.
It really is. Like a lot of older games generally tend to tie like secret characters mostly behind unlocks. I'm thinking something like along the lines of like Mortal Kombat. Not many really allow you to unlock them via cheat codes. Most of them are unlocks. And in fact, I'm struggling to think of any games nowadays that you can unlock new characters using a cheat code. The only one I can think of at the top of my head, and I've really racked my brains for this, was the game I've mentioned a couple of times already, Infernax. You can unlock secret characters, and there's some secret items as well. just by putting in a certain name in the name entry screen. For example, if you want to play with a guy with a big axe, just type in the code Axedor, spelled Axcedor. And not only does it give you a different character, it's not just a palette swap. They play differently. It like gives you a reason to replay the entire game again, and it doesn't like break the game in half. They're not like super powerful. It's just like nope, it's got a completely different moveset and stats essentially. But there's other ones as well, like not necessarily not a different character, but same game in Fernax. There is a secret room in the game, and it's more of a place where they've put the names of essentially backers for getting the game made, which is a nice little Easter egg. But right at the very end, there's like a magic tome, and it's essentially a game genie. It's even got like art assets that are very close to it. And again, there's codes you can type in to get weird bonuses, shall we say, that don't belong in the game at all, but they're there. For example, if you type in the code Painsaw, except saw is spelt with two V's rather than a W, you unlock a chainsaw as a weapon. You're just going around medieval Crusade lands just wielding a fucking chainsaw. There's an option for a jetpack as well. But probably the most unique one is there is one where you ride a motorbike and you use the motorbike as a weapon. You move lightning quick, you can jump really high, and you just run over everything by just riding into them. And if you really want to unlock that, the code is not pose, which is NOTPOZES. So there you go. But for newer games, that's pretty much all I could think of. I'm hoping there must be more than that. As I say, like for newer things, if you want to cheat, you want a new character or anything like that, you want big head mode, yep, microtransaction. You want another character, give me 99p. But yeah, for shame, etc.
I mean, I've got quite a few still more left on my list for us to talk about. Like, have you played like the old Ratchet and Clank games?
I haven't. Well, I played the first one more recently, but I didn't really like it. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Jack and Daxter. Sorry. Ratchet and Clank. I've played the remake and the new one, and I like those.
So I replayed. I say replayed it. There was an old cheat code for it where you can get Captain Quark to wear a tutu. So if you press up, so there was a point during the scene where all of a sudden he'd read, if you say out up, down, left, right, circle, square, all of a sudden Captain Quark would start to wear a tutu throughout the rest of the game, which is quite hilarious. There's also sorry.
I was going to say sometimes it's funny when they just don't draw any attention to it whatsoever. He's just there wearing a tutu.
That's pretty much what they do. He's just wearing a tutu and it's just there as part of all like the cutscenes and stuff. But there's a couple games actually where cheat codes actually did legitimately benefit the game. And I spoke about this before. But on the old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they would always have a code on the bottom right of the card, given it's a card identification thing. So anytime like Konami went to like reprint it, they'd have the code and that would bring up the actual, the image of the card. But on Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, if you entered in that code, it will allow you in-game to generate that card. And bearing in mind, this is a PlayStation 1 game. So they had like, I think about 800 different Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which had the code in the bottom right. And you can use the in-game reward system to basically unlock the card, which I thought, was absolutely amazing. You'd never be able to do it because a lot of the main cards like Gaia the Fierce Knight, Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress, Dark Magician, they always cost 999,999 star chips. But anytime you complete a fight, either really fast or right till the bitter end, you only get 5 star chips. So you can just imagine to try to accumulate like 1 million star chips and you're only getting 5 per game, you'd have to do 200,000 duels just to get one of the cards, which made it just impossible. But it was always nice just to try to achieve to get cards like that. There was also Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels of the Roses, where after you completed the game, if you go to certain points on the map, it will give you a code. And if you then enter in this code, it lets you unlock like ridiculously overpowered cards. But you didn't have to do it. So what you could do is if you just started the game, you could enter the code in anyway, and you can get the cards, which just made the game just absolutely easy to like speed run through. Have we mentioned GoldenEye yet?
Yeah.
So you mentioned about the big heads, but you said like nowadays people will have to pay for it. In GoldenEye, if 007 on the Nintendo 64, if you completed missions under certain time periods or on certain difficulties, they would let you just unlock a cheat just for the hell of it. And the most famous one is, I've never done it, I don't know if you've done it, is paintballing.
Oh, paintball mode, yeah, big head
I never
mode.
unlocked that. I've always just remembered like big heads and stuff like that. I've never had paintball.
It was sort of like a gorilla mode as well, so everyone was sort of hunched over with like long arms as well.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But it's just making me think, like when the GoldenEye comes on the Switch expansion for the Nintendo 64, N64. I'm going to try it.
I hope they leave them in.
I hope they leave them in because I really want to relive this because I think it's going to be so fun.
Someone's going to complain. It's like, oh, I can't do paintball mode on multiplayer. What's this about? Yeah, I sometimes wonder if the reason these cheat codes are left in, like something like big head mode, I'm wondering if that's something they programmed in or whether it was a mistake at first, but they kept it in. It's like, no, that's funny. Leave it. That's so.
So that's that. Another game, or another few games which I've grew up with is like Dynasty Warriors 2 and 3, where you can unlock codes on the main menu to unlock all the players and all the maps. Because what you'd have to do on, in particular, Dynasty Warriors 2 is to unlock the character Lu Bu, you need to get 1,000 kills on Hulao Gate to unlock Lu Bu, which basically meant every time you see a spawn gate, you just have to sit there and kill everything and do it on like the lowest difficulty just to be able to do it. Whereas you could just literally just enter in the cheat code and you unlock everyone from the very beginning, which was great. And I think another game which I think a lot of people benefited from cheat codes to unlock everything is Guitar Hero. Have you? Okay. Yeah, because like on Guitar Hero, like especially like Guitar Hero 3, it literally blocks you. If you can't finish a song, you can't advance in the game to unlock more songs. Whereas Guitar Hero, I don't know if the other Guitar Hero side, but I know Guitar Hero 3 and World Tour, you could just literally enter in a cheat code and it would just unlock all the songs for you, which again, if you're not very good at Guitar Hero and you just want to play it because you enjoy it, it's a a bloody amazing thing. But you could just you could just delete a save file and then you'll have nothing and you can start from scratch. But it's just there for people to use. It just has everything unlocked ready for you. I've got two more on my list because I want to exhaust my list.
I've got a couple more, but I'm going to leave them to the end.
Yeah. Actually, I'll leave my very last one till the end.
Right,
but the other one I want to talk about is probably one of the only PC games before I built a PC, but something which I used to play as an early teenager on the computer is Age of Empires. And on Age of Empires, when I bought a laptop, I think it actually came with the Age of Empires Definitive Edition, the Gold Edition, which was Age of Empires 1, but had all these extras on it. And what you could do, I can't remember if you press Shift or something else, but there's like cheat codes which you can enter to get rid of the fog system in it, because what you have in Age of Empires is every one of your units, buildings, whatever, will have like a radius around it where if enemies were to walk past, you'd be able to see them. So that would be a visibility radius within like the fog zone. And then the fog zone would block everything out, and then you've got your visibility radius. Then what you got around there is like the dark zone or the shadows, where it's unexplored territory. What you could do is you could enter in a code to basically unlock all the dark areas, so you had full view of the map. You could then enter in another code to get rid of the fog zone, so you could literally see the enemies just everywhere, and you could just from the very beginning just see what is the AI doing on certain difficulties. But possibly my favorite cheat code on it is that there's two which you can use to basically unlock characters, and one of them is if you type in E=mc², you effectively get a guy in a hazmat suit with a nuke. And you can just imagine if you're playing this game set in the Bronze Age and you've got this one guy with a fucking nuke which has like a radius of 200, I think it's like 200 squares, which is huge on Age of Empires, and it just does a shit ton of damage, and it's so satisfying to watch this guy just launch a nuke at cavemen. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah, that's my main list exhausted of ones that I grew up with. Dan, you've been awfully quiet. Have you got any?
I was letting you two talk. I was like, I'm not going to interrupt either of you. I'm just going to let you guys talk.
I could keep going, but I think the last two are like the coup de grace for myself personally. But go on, Dan.
I don't know about loads, because I think most of mine from like either just like just unlock everything, like on games that I struggle not to try and beat. I'll just find a cheat code to unlock everything, and I'll just play like select levels or have all the characters and just be like, oh yeah, now I've got Spider-Man on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Yeah, there we go. Or there's Iron Man and Gene Simmons on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 or Underground. They're on. Or like Darth Maul on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. It's just like, yeah, I've got the cheat code for him. I think you mentioned Age of Empires, but do you remember the Age of Empires 2, like where you get the Cobra car? You just get you have the cars, and you can they just.
Oh, I need to see this.
It's like, as you're saying, like the hazmat suit on Age of Empires 2. You got the cars.
What? I'm looking at this now. What the hell?
Yeah. Like there are still, as you're saying, like little kind of cheat codes, or not cheat codes, but like big head mode or stuff. There are still some of those things in games, but these days they're more locked behind like achievements. So if you do an achievement and then you get it, like funny enough, Bloons Tower Defense 6 has a whole load of these where there's a whole load of certain achievements that if you do them you get things. So it's like big big tower mode, small tower mode, small balloon mode, big balloon mode, and there's some other ones. I know like I know that you got like the gravity cheat on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna now fly on my skateboard. I don't care who cares. So yeah, like in Age of Empires, and I remember Warcraft, even like The Sims, you got the ones where you can get loads of money. Oh, I believe I did those cheats many times. You know, there's a lot. I think most of the cheats I've done have just been like, oh, I can't be asked to try and play this game normally. I'm just gonna do this cheat to just get a whole lot of stuff, and yeah, basically ruin a normal experience. But you know, these days, as you say, it's not really a thing anymore, or if it is, it's tied to achievements. Really. That's the way, like, the things you unlock through cheat codes are kind of hidden behind achievements. So you do that achievement, well, now you get big head mode. If you do this achievement, you now, all your lightsabers in this Star Wars game are now brushes or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a nice little balance of it will be like to do a lot of like unlocks for games, like say new levels, new characters. I think they should be put behind progression rather than an obscure cheat code that you'll have to look up.
Oh yeah.
But if you want something, if you want something that's actually gonna like snap the game in half or just go completely silly, just like completely ruin the tone of the game, I think that's when you should implement your cheat codes. That's when you should start having like your big head modes or your paintball modes and so forth.
You said about like, is there any cheat code where you got to type in and you can't unlock it normally? I know there's one where it's changed with the remake, but the original version of Crash Team Racing, Penguin, you could not unlock without a cheat code. But with the remake, you can unlock Penguin not just by playing. Well, there's no cheat codes in the remake anyway, but yeah, you can actually unlock Penguin now normally, but in the PS1 version, original version, you have to use a cheat code.
One that's just jumped to mind. It's not one I've got written down, but I've just remembered it. I'm not sure if it's really a cheat or more of an Easter egg, but I'll mention it anyway. But Spider-Man on the PS1.
Yeah.
There's a code like entry screen.
Yes.
I think it's more like the names entries.
Yeah.
But if you put in a swear word.
Oh yes.
A little Spider-Man will appear at the top of the from the at the bottom of the screen up to the word and just sort of punch the word, just like slap it and say,
really?
Yeah.
It's in
if you
the
swear.
second one as well.
I may have the wrong game. It's literally just jumped into my brain. It's like, oh yeah, that was a thing. It's a tiny little Spider-Man that comes up and just sort of smacks the word and said, no, can't. That's a bad word. Can't do that. I suppose it's a cheat. It's kind of an Easter egg as well. It's a grey area, that one. But it's something unique. Any more, Brandon? Dan?
I'd say you mentioned that, cheat codes are pretty much a dying thing, but they still actually do exist, but they just don't really exist for console gamers anymore, because what a lot of games now have, especially like for the modern community, are console commands where like Minecraft have it, Terraria might have it, and other sort of like sandboxy games will have console commands where if you type in like a backslash and like certain ID or keywords, you can spawn in said items. So in some aspects, some cheats do exist in like a sort of loose way, but it's not like the ye olde cheats where cheat codes could just do like these miraculous things. They're just sort of more simplified little entities now.
I'd say they probably feel more like an exploit than a cheat.
Yeah, they feel, because like the cheats, like, as a kid when you discover these cheats, you felt like it was the best thing in the world. You felt like a genius when you figured it out, whereas, it's just not really a thing anymore. Yeah.
There's something to be said for like when you, I don't know, I was going to say when we were younger, but of course I was younger back then. That's how time works. Now, there's something weird, like, it's kind of like that thing, like you hear like a playground rumor. Somebody says, oh, if you do this in this game, like if you type in this code, this will happen. And you take it with a pinch of salt. You go, there's no way that's possible. And then you get home, try it out, and it actually fucking works.
Yeah.
Like mind blown. What the hell? I suppose for me to wrap up on my ones, I've got two games I want to mention, which I've got the strongest memory of using cheat codes on. The first, I think a lot of people are going to be going to remember, okay? In fact, if I say the cheat code first, I want you to guess what game it is, because you might get it. So the cheat code is up, down, left, right, A, B, C, start.
What? What? Say it again.
Up, down, left, right, A, B, C, start.
ABC?
ABC, start.
So straight away, that makes me think of the Nintendo 64.
Not quite.
Because I can't think of any other controls that have a C on it.
The Mega Drive.
Oh, okay, that I wouldn't know then.
Fair enough. Well, the answer
Sonic.
is the original Sonic, the Mega Drive Sonic. Up, down, left, right, ABC, start, level select. Anyway.
Oh.
And one further, same game, is if you press up, down, left, right on the title screen and then start playing, then if you put in that same code during gameplay, instead of a level select, you'll enter a debug mode. And what that does is allow you to cycle through every single sprite in the game while the game is running, as usual, and you can just place them anywhere. And I used to spend hours playing that game, just going to every level, just spawning in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of enemies and rings, just everywhere, just to see how long it'll take to break it. And you know what? I never did break it. I got a lot of slowdown, as you'd imagine, when there's like 8,000 moto bugs on the screen. That's something that kept me entertained for ages. It was like the gameplay equivalent of like having a sticker book, but you had unlimited stickers. It's like it's like, oh, that's a nice little platform you got there. Be a shame if there were to be a wall of spikes on there. I just went absolutely bananas with it, and honestly, that's kept me going for ages. And obviously, I was crap at the game, so I could just go straight to the last level every time. Want to fight the final boss? Yeah, go for it. Right off the bat, go and do it. Of course, you always get the bad ending because there's no way you can get all the Chaos Emeralds that way. Which is funny enough is also true of Crash Bandicoot. I used to do the level selecting that as well because I was bad at it. But again, you can never get the true ending because of it. If you haven't got all the unlocks, you just teleport straight there. The one I want to end on though, because this game has some of the most stupid cheat codes in. I'd be amiss to not mention it. And one of our viewers, I know for definite, will know exactly what I'm on about. So, have you played the game Die Hard Trilogy on the PS1?
Nope.
No. Okay. So Die Hard Trilogy. I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast before, but I'm going to go into more detail. So Die Hard Trilogy is obviously it's based on the first 3 films of the Die Hard franchise, but each game is different. The first one's kind of like an arcade shooter. The second one's like an on rails light gun game. The third one's like a sort of Crazy Taxi-ish type of game. But these are mostly for the first game, which is like the arcade shooter. But you have some crackers in here. So, and most of them are completely pointless and they're just there to make you laugh, which they bloody well did. So me and my mate at the time used to boot up Die Hard Trilogy, and just put these in just to laugh with it. And the great thing is you could put on multiple of these at any time, so you could have as many running as you wanted. So first completely pointless one, if you boot up the first Die Hard game, if you press circle, circle, square, square, right, and then the target button, everything will just make weird noises when shot. And I do mean everything. The plants, the chairs, you shoot them, they'll make like death screams. Absolutely no point to it whatsoever. Is it funny? Yes. There's something inherently funny about shooting a plant with a machine gun, and it just constantly screams at you for doing so. You got something else as well called silly mode, which is you press down, circle, circle, down, and triangle. And what this does is the enemies with pistols that shoot at you will now bend over backwards and shoot at you through their legs.
What?
Because, yep, that's all it does. Enemies just bend over backwards, shoot it through your legs at you. That's all it does. It's just called silly mode. There's even things just to fuck with you, like reverse directions, right square, triangle, right. Just completely flips your control scheme for no reason. Up is now down, left is now right. Serves no purpose. I suppose you could do a challenge run playing Die Hard that way if you wanted to. Of course, you got your classics like a ton of ammo, invincibility, floating dead. But I think the one we had the most fun with was, I suppose, a bit similar to Big Head mode. So for my final one, if you press right, square twice, and then down, you have what the game calls, and I'm not kidding, fat mode, where every character is hideously overweight.
That's in
including John McClane.
I believe that's in one of the Tony Hawks, I think, as well.
I think it may be, yeah.
And WWE SmackDown too.
Yeah, and I think it goes, it doesn't state here, and I can't remember, this may be wrong. I want to say it's correct. I think everyone sort of starts making like wheezing noises, and everyone sounds like they're struggling as well. Gameplay wise, it's like the same. Like you still like move at the same speed. It's just like you and all the enemies are just big chungus, and you just start making wheezing and sort of gasping sounds when you're moving around. Yeah, fat mode. That's a thing that exists, and we had a lot of fun with. In fact, for the opposite way, there's also a skeleton mode as well, where if you press triangle 10 times and right 4 times, everyone becomes skeletons. Like all it is to differentiate between the characters is your character's white, the terrorists are red, and the hostages are blue skeletons. That's it. So it goes both ways. But yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with that with my mate back in the day. Just boot it up, put it on, put in some codes at the same time, walk around as a fat skeleton shooting plants. That's Die Hard. That's the plan of the next Die Hard film, I think. Die Hard 6. So I guess that's it for cheat codes. Unfortunately, there was no cheat code to fill in that silence.
No.
Yeah, you just have to press up, down, left, right, turn the volume down, up.
What?
I don't know. I'm just making up cheat codes.
All right, I've got a really good cheat code.
What's that?
So here's what you do: is you go into your web browser, you type in Victory Achieved podcast, you click on the latest episode that's on there, and you'll have a fun time.
Victory Achieved podcast.
It doesn't matter if it's lower or uppercase.
Victory podcast. Who's Kevin Dillon? That's Victory podcast. Victory Achieved podcast. We're on Podcast Wires. Victory Achieved podcast at episode 38. For some reason, episode 38 Halloween is the one that comes up first.
Funny, isn't it? Hey, that's probably because I just mentioned skeletons.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Although, yeah, well, funny enough, where is it? Oh my gosh, where is it? Episode 22 is our most played episode.
I wonder why.
Anyway, I guess that's another episode. Episode 44, boys.
Yay. So, everyone at home, what's your favourite cheat code? Do you even remember cheat codes? I'm sure you do. If you don't, you probably have some short-term memory problem and should probably get that looked at.
Oh my god. Fucking hell.
If you remember.
I can't remember.
What are we on about?
I don't know. As always, you can follow us on our social media Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Oh, well, Chris's TikTok.
One of us.
One of us, until probably Brandon from the looks of it. But I didn't download it during this podcast.
I've downloaded it, I've linked my Twitter to it, and I followed Spanky.
Yay.
But I see what you mean though about useless crap. For some reason, I've got an old man dressed up as a bumblebee.
I've had that. I think everyone just gets the same shit.
Oh my gosh. And I think I'd just waste so much time if I had TikTok, so I think I'm not going to.
Yeah, it is dangerous because because everything's like very short. You end up just like watching loads, and before you know, like 8 hours has passed.
Yeah, just get into bed, watch.
I've managed to avoid that. Although I do keep booting it up just to see how my stuff's doing. You know, like, I haven't checked if my latest video I've uploaded has got 1 million views yet. It's been like a whole 30 seconds. Maybe it's hit a threshold.
To be fair, I've got bad on. My YouTube algorithm's now giving me chess. So now on my YouTube shorts, it'd be like stuff, D&D stuff, chess, gaming stuff, anime. I was like, oh my gosh, my YouTube is just all over the fucking place.
Is this because of the chess boxing with Chris Broad?
Yep, because I watched that and then I was like, I'm going to play some chess. And then I watched a video of this, it must be a chess master who played against the worst bot on chess.com and gave him initially 15 queens and then he gave him 30 queens and he won both games. He had the standard setup and the bot had literally pretty much just queens and a king and he won both games. It was absolutely ridiculous. I was like, this shouldn't happen. But yes, it is because of the Chris Broad chess boxing match.
I thought so.
Have you watched it?
No, I've only seen briefly Ludwig's response after it because he said that he was so nervous when he was recording it, he went for a full flush shit.
I was listening to the latest Trash Taste episode and Connor was talking about it. He was like, yeah, he was like, Chris's opponent was basically a toddler in chess, and it was fucking hilarious. And because he had a pawn that he could have got as a queen, and he didn't know that was a thing. So it was just like he could have literally checkmated Chris just like that, and he didn't know that you could just get another queen. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, thank you for listening to Victory Achieved. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here.
Well, technically, with audio, so there could be anything in the world and listen to this.
I know.
Semantics.
I know. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, lads.
And lassies.
Yeah.
And everyone else.
Yeah. You know where we are on social media. These two will be on Twitch.
Yes.
You'll hear us soon.
Indeed. See you later. Have a good one.